Welcome back to Creative Conversations. In this episode, I'm talking with Jez Bonham, a genre-bending singer-songwriter from Revelstoke, BC. Jez gets real with us today by sharing a harrowing story of a traumatic event that changed his life forever. His journey back from the edge can serve as inspiration for anyone. And, inspired by one of his stories in this episode, I decided to host my very own album night with a few friends. Absolutely remarkable experience. We hope you enjoy this episode. All right, welcome to another episode of Creative Conversations, brought to you by Omnia Theatre. Today we're talking to Jez Bonham, a singer-songwriter musician who has played a few songs for us that you'll see at the end of the show. Thanks for being on the show, Jeff.
Thank you for having me, Ryan.
So, this show, we talk about creative people and the creative passions in their lives, and a big part of that is being brave enough to take the leap to pursue your own projects. So can you maybe start by telling me a little bit about your journey and what eventually motivated you to take the leap to make your own music?
Wow. Man, I wish I had got these questions in advance.
I actually kind of prefer not to give them to people in advance because I want that the freshness of them being taken off guard by it as if we were meeting and getting to know each other for the first time.
Yeah, no, I like that. That's it's definitely working. I'm definitely taking up. Funny because I should have known that would have been a good question. But so the question was, what got me started?
Yeah, a little bit about your journey, like what motivated you to start making your own music and what really pushed you over the edge to say all right, I'm a musician, I'm going to put my stuff out there, because music is incredibly personal, right? And it's difficult for a lot of people, especially new artists, to be brave enough to sing in front of a crowd.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, well, I guess I better start at the beginning then. It was, I grew up in a house with an acoustic guitar in every room.
Wow.
Every single room except for the bedroom. My bedroom, my brother's bedroom, and my parents. I think my parents my dad maybe had one there, but every room had an acoustic guitar. My dad's obsessed with acoustic guitars and music, and Bob Dylan.
Oh, yeah. A lot of parents' generation, a lot of people from our parents' generation absolutely love Bob Dylan. The man is an absolute lyrical genius.
Yes. Well, actually, my middle name is Dylan.
Oh, no way.
Jez Dylan Bonham, yeah.
My roommate is named Van after Van Morrison.
Yeah, see, if that's my goal. I want people to start naming their kids
Jez?
Their middle name Jez.
Nice.
It's such a weird name, but it's a unique name. But
is it short for anything?
No.
Oh, that is a very unique name.
Yeah, that was my mom though. That wasn't my dad. That was
he wanted Dylan.
Yeah, he wanted Dylan. He did. So he got to choose the middle name. I think it was the opposite with my brother. I think maybe he got more of a choice in the first name and less of a choice in the second name.
They're taking turns.
Yeah.
Equitable way to do it.
Yeah, that's right. And so I kind of had the guitar in my hand a lot growing up, but I never really took it seriously or really was interested in it in high school, which is a shame because I only really started playing the guitar, actually trying to learn how to play it when I was about 19, and I was already living here by myself.
I mean, you did better than me because I didn't learn as a child, and I still haven't learned yet, and I'm 31 now, but I plan on learning the keyboard soon. That is my goal.
Well, if I did it at 19, I mean, our brains are similar, the pliability of a brain or whatever. When does that stop? Maybe at 30?
There's actually, I was listening to the Huberman Labs podcast the other day, and there's some recent research that suggests that it actually never stops.
Oh, well, there you
as
go.
long as you keep learning and introducing yourself to new experiences, the growth will keep happening. The plasticity will remain.
So the 5-year-old thing is bullshit?
There's definitely, until 25, there's a drastically increased amount. But if you continue to learn after 25, it like maintains it at a level that's not as high, but like still higher than they used to say.
Right. Okay. I like that.
I mean, it gives us hope for being able to teach an old dog new tricks.
Even if it's not true, I like to think it is.
Absolutely. I mean, belief is extremely powerful, right? Like,
oh, I believe that.
Believing that you can be a popular musician and put your music out there is like one of the first things that you need to actually put your music out there and become a popular musician.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's true. And I still struggle with that. You know, I think the self-doubt in any artist is always massive. So, you know, and I think I am my own harshest critic. You know, it doesn't matter how many times I go play a live show or something, or play some music in front of some friends, or send some people my music, and it doesn't matter how many times that the people are like, wow, you're incredible, or something like that. I always still have that thought of, well, I fucked this part up, or I didn't like how that, you know, and am I actually good enough for, you know, for the next level? And so that's actually been kind of keeping me back from playing more, like applying to different venues, bigger venues and stuff, because I'm nervous about it. But
live shows have always struck me as being incredibly intimidating. Like standing on that stage in front of a crowd of people, they're all staring at you for at least half an hour to an hour and a half.
Yeah.
It gets the sweat
terrifying.
Going.
I'm allergic to gluten, but I didn't know that.
I have only recently kind of discovered that myself. It's a
You are
very
too?
mild gluten intolerance, but yeah, like every time I eat bread, I notice it within like half an hour.
Yeah, half an hour. That's me too. I think a lot of people are, to some degree.
Yeah, absolutely agree.
I am to a very large degree, but didn't know. So I've had like stomach pains my whole life, and it was always attributed to, oh, Jezzy, that was my nickname, Jezzy's nervous.
Makes sense.
Jezzy's got another tummy ache. You know, my family would make fun of me all the time, and I'm like, my stomach hurts. I would always, you know, say my stomach hurts. And
why are people making fun of me for being in pain?
And so, but another side effect of it was, so I'd get crazy acid reflux and heartburn. And so the acid reflux was damaging my vocal cords. So when
That's
I wanted to go,
incredibly detrimental for a musician.
Yeah. And so I would drink beer all the time, and beer is just pure gluten.
Yeah.
And so I would drink beer before a show because I was nervous. And then I was like ultra nervous because I was trying to hit these high notes of my own songs.
Yeah.
That say when I wrote them, I was like, oh, this isn't too hard to sing. And then all of a sudden I'm drinking and before a show because I'm so nervous. Or like even this was when I was doing open mics, and I was even terrified then. And at an open mic, is people are forgiving because
it's there for people to practice.
It's there for exactly. So so speaking of the nerves, and then sometimes I remember, I'll never forget when my voice actually cracked on stage, like a huge crack.
Oh man, that's got to be a huge shot to the ego.
I'll never forget the bartender. I remember seeing her because most of the crowd, they like didn't want to laugh because they like held it in. It's like, oh, that must be tough for that guy.
Yeah.
But she let out like a very audibly loud wailing laugh, and I looked at her,
mean.
and I looked at her, and then she looked at me, and then like quickly like shut her mouth and like ran to the back, but it was too late, right?
Yeah.
And so that did not help my nerves. But I've done a lot of research, and I actually went to a naturopath for a whole totally another issue. And she checked my health and found out that I was actually, my immune system was functioning at 33% because the other 66 was fighting gluten, because I eat gluten all the time. I mean, who doesn't? If you don't know, you're allergic.
It's so hard to avoid if you like, unless you are specifically trying to avoid it, you can't avoid it.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's in sauces and soy sauce and anything. It's in that barbecue sauce, and sucks. Like, why does it need to be in those?
I never would have thought to look at barbecue sauce for gluten.
Like half of them have wheat in it to make it thicker. Yeah. And so I got to go with the
ingredient
cornstarch.
lists.
Well, yeah, if your stomach's starting to hurt, like, how do you notice it? Is it your stomach?
Yeah, stomach cramping and gas mostly. When I was a kid, I'd get the most intense like pain in my gut, and I like for the longest time I had no idea what it was or what triggered it, and it seemed like it didn't matter what I ate. It just like was always triggered. But like since gluten is in almost everything these
Yeah.
days, unless you're specifically trying to avoid it, it makes sense that almost everything would trigger it.
Yes. And so if you do like, I cut out dairy, still happen. Okay, well, I cut out bread. I cut out what I thought was gluten.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't check the ingredients, then no, you're still eating it. And in
Yeah.
liquid form, it's going to hit you even harder. And so, we
Yeah.
had similar problems. And so, and like inflammation of the body. And I've had actually a lot of health problems.
Inflammation is the killer, the silent killer, man.
It is, yeah. Because I actually listen to Huberman as well. And so
It's a great show.
it's fantastic, yeah. And I've learned a lot. All coming from the Rogan podcast, actually. I didn't even know about that guy.
I discovered him. Actually, Adam was originally the one that just put him on my radar, but I stumbled across him on the Lex Friedman podcast. Also,
Mm-hmm.
big fan of the Lex Friedman podcast.
Yeah. So inflammation, like I had. Oh man, I don't even want to get into the gross issues that I had, but
I mean, I think I understand and know some of them.
well, yeah, you probably do. But I had even had to go get like very minor surgeries because of the constant inflammation on my body.
Oh,
Yeah,
shit.
it was that bad on like my internal organs and stuff that, imagine how bad it would be in another 10 years from now. So,
Yeah.
without getting into the gross specifics of it, but the doctor actually she told me that I must have a guardian angel because the thing that they spotted could have turned cancerous within like
Oh, wow.
any, and they don't check for it until you're like 50. So,
It's just a little late.
yeah. So I was like, maybe you should start earlier. But I think when I'm constantly eating gluten, which without knowing it and being inflamed constantly, like that's going to create autoimmune disorders and like psoriasis and all kinds of shit. But the biggest thing I noticed it in was my voice, my vocal cords. And so like now if I have to sing the next day, I won't eat gluten for 2 or 3 days before, like make sure. Like I still eat it sometimes. Say
Well,
like
we just talked about, it's so hard to avoid, right?
Yeah, it's like you go to a restaurant with friends or something, and you say gluten free, it'll still be cross contaminated in a fryer.
My cousin hates that. She's on the kitchen like white on rice about not cross contaminating her food because she's like extreme celiac. It doesn't even take half an hour to hit her. She knows it in like 3 minutes.
Yeah, and it's bullshit. If they shouldn't like, what I hate is like when they advertise it as gluten free. And then they have to ask you like, well, are you celiac? Well, what the fuck does it matter?
Gluten is gluten,
if it's gluten free, it's
Yeah.
gluten free. If it's not, it's not. So yeah. And so anyways, yeah, so I make sure, and I didn't even drink coffee this morning, so I was for the same reason, like
Coffee
it dries
gluten
out
in
the
it?
vocal
Oh,
cords. I
okay.
just figured that out from another podcast. I had a vocal coach for.
Do you know if tea does it too?
Anything with caffeine will do it.
Caffeine, okay.
So if you have green tea, it will. If you have maybe Earl Grey has caffeine in it.
Yeah, most black teas.
Black teas,
Maybe
yeah.
all black teas.
Yeah, so like I actually used to perform. Do you know the Giggle Dam? Do you know of the Giggle
Oh,
Dam?
yeah.
I used to be a performer like on the like for a little tiny bit of time. I did like the musical theater there, and I played the bass guitar and sang.
Oh, cool.
And
You
they
play
would
bass too? How many instruments do you play?
Well, I basically just play the guitar
Okay.
and the harmonica. The bass is like, it is just it's just a fat 4-string guitar. So,
Yeah.
like I wouldn't say I play the bass because I'm not gonna. All the bassists out there, it is a hard. When I said it's just a fat 4-string guitar, it's still a very hard instrument, and that's why I don't play it because it's
shade to
very
the
hard to
bassists.
do. Yeah, like I have a lot of mad respect for bassists. I have a bass. I pick it up and I'll like learn, some funky song I like, the bass line, and then that's about as far as I go. Like if I
There's
have
some
time,
great bass lines out there.
oh yeah. If I have time, I can learn pretty much anything on the bass, but I'm not a bass player. Like I
Right.
can't just like I know my like guitar theory, but it doesn't translate that well. I mean, it does, but I don't know all the scales. I just know like more the bluesy pentatonic scales and like some of the scales, so it doesn't translate that well. But anyways, yeah. So one of my favorite bands, Sublime,
Great band. One of my favorite bands is actually most inspired and has one of Sublime's members as a producer, Dirty Heads. Have you ever heard of them?
I've never heard of them.
You should check them out. They're very Sublime-y sound feeling kind of because their producer is from Sublime. And I only found them like last year sometime, and they quickly became probably my second favorite band after Sia. I fucking love Sia.
Dirty Heads?
Yeah, Dirty Heads.
Dirty Heads. Okay, I will check them out. And Sia?
Yeah, Sia. Sia.
I don't even know Sia.
You don't know Sia? Sia is like one of the most famous artists of our time.
I don't know Sia.
Wow, I'm blown away.
Man, I shouldn't be. Should I be admitting these things on a podcast?
I mean, I feel like it's contentious information is always going to draw listeners to some degree because people like to be provoked in a sense. So
yeah, that's true.
if people listen to this and think, what the fuck? He doesn't know who Sia is? They're going to be maybe more interested in listening to what else you have to say, potentially. Just
to get more mad at me?
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Sia is a female pop singer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I don't know any of her songs, but I think that my wife showed me one of her music videos once. She like uses a young girl in her music videos.
Yeah. And she's kind of like Gluten in the sense that you have definitely been exposed to her, whether you realize it or not, because she does a lot of, like, she'll do choruses for a lot of artists, a lot of, like, house...
I could have went a lot of different ways.
Sia, if you hear this, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to disrespect you by comparing you to Gluten.
Oh, that's good.
But she's, like, because her voice is so unique and so powerful, she'll send, like, demos of music she writes because she predominantly loves to write music. That's her main thing.
Oh, so she writes for other big artists.
Yeah, and she tries to sell her songs, and then she makes albums out of songs that don't sell to other artists, and they end up being some of her most popular songs.
Wow, that's mad respect then.
Yeah.
Maybe I didn't know that. I mean, I didn't really know about her at all, so how could I have? But that is amazing.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to just write for other people too, because that's just a steady income where you just get to chill. You get to chill and someone else makes you famous, and you don't have to not perform. Like, I love performing, but I would also like to say, I don't know, some big star take my music. I would be so happy with that too.
Yeah, and it makes it easier too to, like, if she has a solid stream of content being made by other musicians putting out her music kind of thing, it gives her a little more leeway to take like 5 years off without putting out an album, because she's still making music. She's still doing the thing she loves to do. She's still making money to sustain herself, although she's got more than enough money to survive without making any music for the rest of her life. But it,
Does she show her face ever in music videos? Do you know what she looks like?
I know what she looks like because she actually like wrote and directed a movie called Music. And it really didn't land well because it's about a kid with like an autistic kid who only responds kind of to music. And people really didn't like the way that she portrayed autism in it because she was the director and because she wrote it. She took like all the flack for it.
Right.
And she's already kind of shy and doesn't really like the attention. So she just like absolutely pulled back and like deleted a bunch of her social media accounts and stuff.
Oh, shit. And that was a narrative film? Wasn't it a documentary?
Correct. It was a narrative film. Yeah. And like,
that's a cool idea.
It is.
It's not easy to do.
As an artist who just loves to make stuff, I absolutely respect the fact that she tried to branch out into another medium of art.
100%. I mean, in the current age we're at, you look out. If you make anything of any kind, not even just art, anything that's in the public eye that has even a small amount of a controversial subject, look out.
Oh,
People are going to attack you.
Dude, cancel culture is so toxic.
It's so bad. It's gone to a level beyond what it should have ever even come close to.
Absolutely. Yeah, it is one of the most detrimental things to happen to modern society, I think.
I agree. Are we going to get in trouble? Are we going to get canceled for saying this?
Maybe, but I mean,
or I'll get canceled, you won't.
Maybe we'll just find an audience of other people who hate cancel culture.
Yeah, I think that audience is actually bigger.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah,
it's just they're not as loud as the cancelers.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I don't fuck with that. I'm allowed to swear on this, right?
Yeah, we on YouTube, I think the swearing will be potentially bleeped over, but we're also going to have non-censored versions.
Okay. Well, one of my songs that I recorded has lots of swearing in it, so I figured it'd be fine.
It is fine. Honestly, I don't care. The censoring bit is actually Amanda figures that we should probably have a censored and an uncensored version just to reach a wider audience on YouTube.
Okay, so I can kind of do what I want then.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
in
that
that
is.
case, no, I'm just kidding.
I mean, that's very much one of the reasons why I'm trying to do what I'm trying to do is to give creators the freedom to do what they want to do. Like, I firmly believe that we have control of exactly one thing, and it is ourselves. And if you ever try to influence others by controlling them, it will only end poorly for everybody.
I like that point of view. I agree. Without me exposing myself too much, because I know I can't step on toes too much, being in the medium I'm in. Like, I can't post opinion anything on my socials. I can't post my opinions. If I'm a musician, like,
I guess, yeah.
I
Especially
just can't.
If it could kill someone like Sia for 5 years, it could definitely crush your career really quickly.
Yeah, like, just getting going.
Yeah.
So, I mean, luckily for me, well, it's tough because the Sid City music appeals to a different crowd than the Jez Bonham music.
I'm so glad you brought that up because I've been dying to ask you about that.
So the Jez Bonham music, I know people would not care about all this cancel culture stuff. They'd be more they would have our mind. The Sid City stuff, I don't know, actually. I think it would be the opposite.
Yeah?
I think it would. I only have 3 songs under the pseudonym, but I don't know how long I'll keep that going. It was like, I love all music. Like, I love it. Like, and that's
music
not an
is love. Music is life.
Yeah, that's not an like, I'm not exaggerating. It's something that I didn't realize. Like, I mean, we all listen to music every day. Every person does. Whether you just have to. It's somewhere.
Deezer last year told me I listened to 102,000 hours of music.
And that's not even the music that you were just like in an elevator or you know what I mean?
That was music I was actively listening to.
Yeah, that's actively listening to music. So like it might be just, as exposed to us as water or something like that. So, but I had this thing where I would, and I still do this actually, I'll listen to something, and this was before that I even became a musician. I would listen to a song on repeat for like an entire week. And
I do that too.
Only one song.
I'm self-proclaimed the person in the world who has listened to Barbie Girl more than anyone else. Like, absolutely. I own the Guinness Book of World record for listening to that song. I listened to it for an entire week straight, working in the bush for my uncle, operating heavy machinery. 12-hour shifts in the machine, Barbie Girl on repeat. I don't know why. It's just that week, I had to jam to Barbie Girl. 12 hours a day.
It's what had to get you through.
Yeah.
It's a good song.
Phenomenal song. It's a great social commentary.
Yeah, it is. It is too, yeah.
I actually feel like the song that has recently come out, the Not a Barbie Girl song, it almost degrades the social commentary from the original because they're actually talking about the same thing, but the original one by Aqua is doing it in a very like subtle, under the radar kind of way.
Totally.
Whereas the modern one is just like really in your face about it, right? And
well, any top 40 music now is going to be in your face. There's no
very much true.
There's like it's
I don't want to get in depth to the lyrics.
Like maybe not all of it, because I can't say that, but like all of the stuff that I've been exposed to, which is not much, because I'd stay away from it.
Me too.
And so I like that's why like when you said Sia at first, it took me a while to figure out who you're, and I was like, oh,
that's fair. Yeah, a lot of her songs, like when they get big, they immediately go into those top 40 playlists.
Yeah, that's how I didn't know.
Some of her best songs are songs that never made it to the radio.
Well, that's always the case.
That's absolutely true.
That's why you got to listen to albums. B-side album, B-side of the album.
Yeah.
So the backside, the B-side is where he's like, oh yeah, but did you know this Tom Petty song? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's the fun stuff to do. What the hell was I saying about oh yeah, listen to a song on repeat. And I would break it down, but just for no reason. I had no reason I was doing it. I just did it.
Okay.
I would break the songs down. I was not a musician. And I started playing the guitar pretty much because my dad actually bought me a very expensive guitar as a gift.
Because there weren't enough guitars in the house already?
No, when I moved out.
Oh, okay.
It was actually the Morgan that I played in here today.
Oh,
yeah,
wicked.
That guitar.
Yeah.
So that guitar has been with me as long as I've been starting to do, like, yeah, since I was like 19 years old. And it was, it made me feel guilty. It was sitting in the corner of the room. And it's a $4,500 guitar back in 2000, whatever the hell that was.
Oh, man. After the run-up over quarantine, it's probably worth at least twice that.
Oh, way more. Probably more than probably it's in the double digits for sure, in the tens of thousands. And I was like, man, I better play that guitar. So I'm alone for the first time in my life. Because I moved to Vancouver and I was living downtown by myself. And I'm from Revelstoke, which is such a small town where everybody knows everyone. Very different vibe. And you just leave, I know my neighbors. Like you just walk. It's weird. There's less people, but you have more people around you at all times. You drive down the street, you wave at everyone because you know everyone. And at the time, you're just like, yeah, well, hey, okay, oh, hey, oh, hey. But now when I go back, I miss that so much.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm alone and I'm just like feeling all these emotions. So I'm just like, grab the guitar. And so I started playing and I'm like, fuck, I suck. I suck so bad. and so I was like, what's even the point of having this thing? Why did I even take this guitar? It's so expensive. And so I was like, I got to get better. So I started playing and I was like, okay, man, this is actually really cool that I can start playing some Sublime songs. Mm. So I started playing the songs, and when you're playing, you're just strumming and strumming and strumming. And then I was like, well, just the strumming's boring. So, and then you start doing kind of the soloing, but I wasn't that good at that. But I was like, man, I got to add to it. Why not, I'm hearing the song. Why not try to sing to it? And I couldn't sing. I wasn't a good singer. I was trying to sing to these songs.
Tell me about it. Last summer, I wrote lyrics for 10 songs. One day I will make an album, but I am tone deaf. So I need to learn how to sing.
You can, though. You can learn.
Absolutely. Yeah. I believe I can 100%. It's just going to take me some time.
Yeah, totally. Well, it took me time. It took me a lot of time. And so that's what I did. I was like, okay, I can play these songs now. Let me try and sing them. I was like, how do people sing? So I self-taught myself how to sing by literally just trying to, I'm going to say the word reptile because I just watched that movie and it was really good. I like that movie. But I was a chameleon. I was chameleoning the voice of Bradley Noel from Sublime and, even Bob Dylan. I would do that voice and I would, and then I would say.
Did you have to smoke a pack of cigarettes to emulate his voice?
The cigarette thing is interesting because it does add, if you're not trying to hit the high notes, it does add a lot. To the lower, like if you want to sing some JJ Cale or something like that, it's like it'll sound good. Huh. It'll sound good, like or the day after drinking, or the day when I drink gluten, my lower voice would sound. It was like I can't even imitate it. It was so deep. Huh. It was the deepest voice. Like I remember, I was at a gas station and I was like talking to the. This is hilarious. I was in Portland in a gas station. Talking to the clerk, and a girl behind me was like, "Oh my God, his voice is so deep." It's because I drank beer the night before, and it was like, but I felt like I was dying. Right? That was like, so I just clocked it, and I was like, "Yeah, that's not my real voice, but it does sound cool." Kind of like Phoebe from Friends.
I was just thinking that. Yeah,
that thing
when she's sick and she's like, "Oh, I sound so sexy," and then she gets better, and she's like, "No, I lost it."
Yeah, she's shitty. By the way, you have a fantastic podcast voice. Did you know that? Did anybody tell you that?
Nobody has told me that, but that means so much to me because, like most people, I don't like the sound of my voice. That's one of the reasons why we implemented the headphones. Well, at least Ricardo has actual reasons for implementing the headphones, being the sound guy, but it's helping me get used to my voice.
Good. It's good for the radio. Trust me. It's got a soothingness to it.
Aw, thank you so much. Giving me hope that this might go somewhere.
It will. I like this. This is good. People are going to look back on it and be like, they're going to watch for both of us.
For both of us.
They want to see us at our early stages.
Yeah,
They were talking about gluten and shitting and all kinds of shit.
Yeah. Uncensored, uncut. The artists behind the art. What were we talking about just before the bathroom break?
Oh.
Well, if we lost it, this is a chance for me to ask you about the Sid City Jez Bonham difference. So context to that, because that wasn't very clear. But are you familiar with Chet Faker?
No.
He also goes by. Actually, now I can't remember his other name, but he has a similar thing where the Chet Faker is like a pseudonym that he's put 2 albums out under.
Yep.
But his original career started under his regular name.
Yes.
And the Chet Faker thing just kind of sort of happened by accident, in the sense that he was writing music and it just like it didn't feel like the music he wanted to put out under his real name. So he created this persona. And from what I understand, it's not like I know him personally, but his persona of Chet Faker is quite different than his regular stage or his regular name, which would be his original music.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm kind of curious, like, is it similar for you, or like what inspired the split?
Yeah. It's similar to that, pretty much exactly the same. I wanted to make funky music, funky pop music.
Okay.
And Garth Brooks did it as well with what was his name? Something Gaines. Ricardo, do you know something Gaines? Okay.
He doesn't know, but he's gonna try and look it up.
Something Gaines. Anyways, and he put a wig on, and he like went full emo.
Oh,
it was
wow.
fucking hilarious. You gotta see.
I gotta look this up.
It's like the exact opposite of Garth Brooks. And he sang like different music, and I think he like even put like a fake birthmark on his face. Like, I don't know if the birthmark
He just like
was real
really
or
didn't
not.
want people to know it was him. He was that self-conscious about it.
Chad Gaines? Chris Gaines. And so he. So okay, so that's not why I did it. That's not why I did it.
Not to be like Garth Brooks.
Chris Gaines. Like, I like Garth Brooks. He's got great music, but like, even though I was never a big country fan growing up, I am now. But
country is a genre I feel like grows on people as they get older. Because I remember as a kid, my dad would listen to it, or we'd go up to Quesnel where my grandparents are, and it's like they have 2 radio stations. It's country and then the top 40s.
Yep.
So all of my family that lives up there would listen to the country station. And as a child, me and my sisters, we all loathed it. And like around the time that we, like somewhere between 16 and 20, we started to develop a little more of an appreciation for it. By the time we were over 20, there was definitely an appreciation for it that didn't exist before.
Mm-hmm. It's weird.
Yeah.
It's like, well, it's like everything. When we're younger, we think a certain way. I'm not gonna get political.
That's
but
very
when
true.
you get older, you kind of see things a little bit more in, I'd say, the proper light. Now that might not be with music. There's no proper way in music. You like what you like. It is what it is.
You just have so much more context to see the world through. Like,
yeah.
The experience that you get through living your life is invaluable for how you will understand the world around you as you get older.
Exactly. Totally. You don't know. You cannot help it but not know what the fuck you're talking about until you at least hit about, I'd say, and this is being generous, but I'd say like 25. I actually think probably 30.
I'm in the 30 camp personally, because that was my trajectory. Like, even as 25, I felt like I knew everything, and I was just like a cocky shit.
Yeah, I was just trying to be nice.
Yeah.
So, but it's 30, and I'm actually thinking 35.
Oh shit! So I got another 5 years to go.
You got a little time to get going. Anyway, so how the hell are you gonna know anything until you lived it?
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's like the great writers from the early 1900s or late 1800s or whatever. They were all adamant believers in that you needed to go out and experience life. So they'd just like go and drink and party and just do things.
Well, good, because that's what I did too. That's exactly what I did. And I really hope it's going to pay off in the end because, damn, I did it too. I fell into a little bit too much of it.
A lot of people do. I have some friends from high school that, like, even though they are now 30, they are still very much living the same lives they lived when we were 20. And
Okay, yeah.
like half of my friends have grown past that. And then I guess more than half of my friends have grown past that. But there's the few that have still, like, they're kind of caught in those years just after high school. And they, like, you can see it all over them. They struggle as adults because they just, like, they don't know how to be adults.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. That happened to me too. The same thing. I was still, well, okay. When I was 29, okay, I have an excuse. When I was 29, I went to visit a friend in Calgary for his 30th birthday. And long story short, I got jumped outside of a bar. I got sucker punched and then attacked by like this huge group of people, like this gang of drug dealers because they thought I was trying to deal drugs outside of the bar where they were the dealers. Because I told my friend I could get him some CBD. That's it.
Just CBD?
Just CBD.
Street drug dealers don't even sell CBD.
Yeah, it was crazy. And so I nearly died, actually. It was like...
holy shit.
Because too many... Yeah, because my head hit... I got knocked out and my head hit... I was too drunk to defend myself against 8 guys. How the hell am I supposed... what am I supposed to do?
I mean, unless you're Jet Li, like,
Yeah.
you can't defend yourself against 8 guys. Like, the best UFC fighters in the world are, like, the only people that might have a chance at defending themselves against 8 guys.
And when they're as drunk as I was, they still wouldn't have been able to.
Yeah.
So I was very drunk. I actually defended myself against 2 of them. And anyways, I don't want to get into the whole scenario, but my head hit the concrete really hard. Apparently, this is what I was told. And so my concussion was so bad that I couldn't even walk for a few days. I couldn't even walk.
Shit.
Like I lost control of my legs. That's how bad the brain swelling and brain damage.
That's
I ended up
terrifying.
getting brain damage from it. Yeah, it was, and infuriating. So my pituitary gland, which is your hormone part of your brain that produces testosterone and everything else, was completely basically destroyed. It was not functioning. So I stopped producing testosterone when I was 29. And I hate retelling this story, but it's good. It's good to talk about it. So I gained, so the concussion comes with a whole bunch of symptoms, which we're only figuring out now. So CTE and all this shit is like, Huberman is actually a good guy to talk about this, but a lot of the other guys that were on Rogan talked about it as well. And actually I got a lot of help from it, which is, thank God. But, so my testosterone was stopped. So I gained 60 pounds in a year. 60 pounds. I went from 205 pounds to 265 pounds in 1 year.
That's a big change for a year.
Yeah. And nothing worked down there. And I was scared all the time. I was like, I had constant state of perpetual anxiety and depression. I felt like a shell of a man. I didn't feel like a man anymore. I felt like nothing. So there was like I didn't feel like there was any reason to live. It was horrible. And I went to the doctors and for help, and they were just like, yeah, you just had a concussion. That was it.
Thanks,
and
Doc.
I was like, I need to get my testosterone checked. Like my dick's not working, and I'm 29.
Yeah, there's few things that will hit a man's like pride and self-worth more than that.
Well, that was the thing that I told them. That's not the biggest reason I went. That was like, because they were like, well, why do you need to go? Because when I went to go see the general practitioner, he's like, well, why do you need to get testosterone checked? And so when they hear that, they'll be like, okay, well, that's probably a good reason. So that's what I told them. But I didn't say all the other reasons what I thought.
Well, yeah, you had a full page of reasons to go see them, but there's only going to be like 3 of them that they would bother to care about.
Exactly. So I was like playing their game.
Yeah.
And they didn't want to test me, so they finally tested me. I didn't hear back from them. And I'm like, I know it's not there. I know it's not. Like I'm working out 5 days a week. I'm still 265 pounds and I'm gaining no muscle. And not losing any weight. Oh, I was working out nonstop.
Man.
I was
Oh.
working out as much as I could. I was taking every supplement you could think of, like,
And seeing no
natural herb,
progress.
and
That's
seeing
got to be
no progress.
so demoralizing.
Oh, I couldn't even look at myself in the mirror. I just couldn't. Like, I avoided mirrors, and I was like scared, like walking down the street, like people, and I've never been a scared person.
Undoubtedly,
Yeah.
some amount of PTSD over the event.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. So I was, like, I've boxed since my 20s. I'm not scared of that. So it's this characteristic of me to be scared of a confrontation. And so, so they tested it, and I didn't hear back. And I was like, no, fuck that. There's no way that it was normal. So I call in, and I'm like, what I'm making an appointment with my doctor. So I go in, and he's like, well, what do you need to see me about? And I said, I want to talk to you about the test, the testosterone. And he's like, oh, okay. And he seemed surprised, right? Like, he didn't even look at it. So he looks at it, and he's like looking at it, and he's like, so the lowest it can go before they force you to have testosterone inject what's it called, TRT, testosterone replacement therapy.
Okay.
They it's 8.8, has to be 8.7 is as low. Is this the number of testosterone in your body
Threshold.
So mine was 9.8. So, and the highest it can be is 27 point something. So if for a guy at 27 years old, should have been in the higher end, it should have been in the 20s.
Yeah.
And mine was so low, it was like a 90-year-old man. That's how low it was. Like, that's how low it was. And so I was like, he's like, oh yeah, it does seem kind of low. He's like, it didn't get flagged because it wasn't below the 8.8. And I was like, fucking 9 point whatever. And I was like, he's like, okay. And immediately he's like, okay, well, he's like, I'll put you on testosterone replacement therapy. So I didn't know any better. And I was like, okay, I'll do whatever I can, because I was on, suddenly I had to go on like all these anti-anxiety meds and anti-depression medications. And
those screw with you so much.
Yeah,
too.
I hated them.
Yeah.
Like, they worked enough so that I could literally get out of my bedroom, because I was agoraphobic. I went fully to agoraphobic.
Holy shit.
I couldn't even leave my fucking house, let alone go play a show. Like, I couldn't do. I like the journey I've been on is wild.
It sounds wild. Like, that is a lot of people. You have come out of it to this point in a much better place than I feel like a lot of people would have come. Like, I know tons of people that have gone through traumatic events that were less traumatic than that, and they are still struggling with them.
Yeah, I agree. I'm glad you said that, because I never gave up.
That's the biggest part of it. You got to keep fighting. You got to keep pushing.
Yeah, I went through hell. I went through absolute hell to even get to where I am now. And I still have, like, it's still there. I still have the anxiety and a little bit of, the stuff that's just still there. But it's every day I know it's getting better. And because of the things that I've been doing. And so he gives me the testosterone replacement therapy. So he gives me an injection of just straight testosterone into the arm. And within about a half an hour, I was like, oh, like, I feel like my old self. I felt incredible.
Hulk out.
I felt happy for the first time in like a year. I felt confident for the first time in a year.
Your body was so starved for testosterone.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't just that. I guess I didn't mention, but my estrogen went through the roof. Like, it went higher levels than should be in a man. And my cortisone, which is the stress hormone, was beyond the normal, like, was beyond the threshold as well. Right. So everything was off. Everything. And so I felt so good. And I was like, okay, well, now I'm convinced I know what it is. So that's the issue. But then, of course, I was like, okay, well, I'll just be on TRT for forever. I didn't know it needed to be forever, though. So I thought. So
I was going to ask you about that. Yeah, actually.
So I found out that the doctor was like, yeah, you have to be on this forever now. And I'm like, okay, well, that's not something I want to do. Is there any other way? And he's like, there's not. So I started getting chest pains. And I don't know if it was just from anxiety or something, but it freaked me out enough to be like, I don't want, because, you hear about steroids giving people heart attacks and shit. So I didn't want that. So, sometimes I think the universe, it giveth and it taketh away.
Absolutely.
Because it made that happen to me. But it also then brought a friend of mine into my life. I'm not gonna say his name, even though I'm sure he wouldn't care. I'll say his first name, Jared. He was at my house for dinner, and I brought up my issue, and then just because I realized one of the ways to get past the anxieties is to tell people your problems. Not saying everyone should do that, but like, say if you have a social anxiety or something, say if you're claustrophobic or something, you tell people in the room with you, and then you suddenly feel better because they're like, oh, they'll be understanding if you have a panic attack or something.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And so I told him, and he's like, oh, I'm seeing this natural path. Turns out that I had concussion symptoms. Had the same, like I had this brain like swelling and stuff, and I had low testosterone, and she treated it in a way that she studied under one of the guys who treated CTE in the NFL. So
wow.
big time, big time, like figuring out what's causing all these NFL players to kill themselves and shit because they have crazy traumatic brain damage.
Oh yeah, and that's so bad in football.
So bad. And so so I was like, really? And so he gave me her information and where she worked. And so I called the next day and I tried to book an appointment and they're like, oh, that'll be 3 months. And in the headspace that I'm in, right, feeling so shitty, I was like, yeah, forget it, fuck it.
3 months is a long time.
Yeah, so I didn't do it. And the next time I saw him, he's like, how did it go? And I was like, oh, I didn't go. And he said, well, why not? I said, well, it was a 3-month wait. And he's like, bro, you can't wait 3 fucking months to like fix your whole life? For the whole rest of your life?
Well, when you put it like that.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, you made me feel like an idiot. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
And so I call back the next day, and I should call him. I haven't talked to him in a while. And I call back and I make an appointment and I go in, and she was like so knowledgeable, and she was like, it's inflammation of the brain. Your brain is inflamed, and the brain can't heal if it's inflamed. Your whole body's inflamed. And then she started doing blood tests, and she's like, your body's fucked. And I was like, okay. That's not nice to hear.
Yeah.
That's not nice to hear. How do I fix this?
That.
How do I fix this? Like, I've been running on adrenaline and just, elbow grease my whole life. And that's legit true. Like, I've always been like a hyper dude and anyways. So she's the one who figured out I was allergic to gluten. And she's like, your whole body's inflamed because of this gluten allergy. So she gets that out of my body. We do like the brain tests. We do like a whole DNA test of all the things that's wrong with me. And we started eliminating them one by one. But then, so the inflammation was the biggest thing. And human growth hormone is one of the best ways to heal a brain. And we don't produce it anymore at our age, really. We do, but in a small, when we're very young, when you're growing, if you get any kind of brain damage or something, say you get a concussed playing hockey or something,
right,
your human growth hormone will usually fix it when you're a kid.
Children are elastic bands.
Yeah, exactly. And so we're working on it, and I'm like starting to see results. And then she puts me on something called gonadotropin, I believe it was called. I had to inject my stomach once every 2 days with a drug that's meant for women for their ovaries to help get them pregnant. So
really?
It tells a woman's pituitary gland to make their ovaries start working. But in a man, it tells your testes, your balls, to start working again. So it was telling my pituitary gland to get its ass working again. And it actually kick-started my brain to start working again.
That's wild.
And so this is like, so I was 29, and then this was like 3 years into I tried fixing it myself. I tried everything. I went to doctors after doctor after doctor.
Oh man, I have had almost zero luck with doctors actually helping fix a condition that I have.
100%. Honestly. And you know what? I don't want to shit on doctors, but general practitioners, they don't have specific knowledge on anything. Like that's why they're general. Like if you have some specific, this is what they know. They know what the pamphlet that they got from the pharmaceutical company that told them about the drug that's supposed to help fix this. Right?
Yeah.
They don't know how to actually make your body fix it. They know how to put you on this drug forever. That'll make it so it's not so bad.
Yeah, that's my biggest problem with them is their solution to everything is to put you on a drug that lasts forever.
Exactly. And then that drug has side effects, and then you need another drug.
The side effects are often worse than the actual effects you are experiencing from your condition.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And so because I was on those drugs, and I felt like I was like, okay, I still feel anxious, I still feel nervous, but I can like get out of my room. So that was a benefit. There is a benefit to it.
Yeah.
I benefited from that drug temporarily.
That's the thing. They're Band-Aid fixes.
Yes.
I had a similar thing. Like last year I got diagnosed with ADHD like so many other people in my age range. And yep, Adam too. And they put me on Concerta and quetiapine.
But what the fuck is ADHD anyways? Like you're
ADHD
just hyper.
is the way that human beings were supposed to be before everyone tried to make us live in boxes.
Exactly. Exactly. Like you're diagnosed with being normal.
Yes. 100%. You were diagnosed with being a functional human being.
You need to go outside and get some sun, put your feet in the grass. Because that's what you're diagnosed with.
Yes.
You just enjoy chatting and when things bore you, you can't take it anymore.
Yeah. How dare I not want to spend 12 hours in a cubicle staring at a computer screen?
Yeah, exactly.
I must be crazy.
Shame on you. You're not allowed sunshine. What did they prescribe for you?
I was on Concerta and quetiapine. And
what are those?
Concerta is a stimulant medication. I think it's from the Ritalin family. It might be from the Adderall family, but it's essentially a time-release stimulant that works over the course of 12 hours. And I started taking it right around the time I started working in the health and safety department for Disney for the last 2 shows that I worked on. And like absolutely as a Band-Aid, like I needed it to get through those shows. I probably would have imploded and then like got fired or quit or something before finishing the last one.
So what was happening to you with the ADHD? Like you were just couldn't focus?
It wasn't just about focus. It was so like the instigating event that finally got me to go talk to my doctor about it, and then that sparked like a 6-month prolonged exposure before I finally like got an appointment with a psychiatrist and they evaluated me for ADHD. But I needed to do my taxes for like my personal taxes, and I also have 2 companies, so 3 sets of taxes, and nobody even wants to do 1 set of taxes. And instead of doing my taxes, I just spent 3 weeks laying on the floor next to the fireplace watching The Ranch on Netflix. And I literally couldn't like even bring myself to leave the house. And God. I was telling
that so many times.
I was telling my doctor about this, and he's like, is it affecting your life? And I'm like, yeah, it's affecting my life. I have one thing that I need to do, and I can't do it, and I haven't been able to for 3 weeks. And I just like literally I would like walk over to it, look at the taxes, and like unless I had smoked a bowl first, I wouldn't even start opening any of the documents to know what I was doing, kind of thing.
Why do you think that I only sent you my promotional shit this morning? I put it off and put it off and put it off. And I was like, oh, why do I always do this?
Yeah.
So I feel you. Anyways, go on.
And so he originally prescribed an antidepressant, and I tried it for a few weeks.
How's that supposed to help?
Right? Apparently the sitting on the couch and not doing anything for 3 weeks is more akin to depression to them.
I see. Yeah, it might be.
Which, I mean, the way that I see it is that, like, not realizing what was going on with my body was creating anxiety and depression because I didn't know how to handle, like, life, essentially. And
I think that's true.
Yeah.
I think that's true. If you put yourself into a routine and you take care of your body, you take care of you stop drinking, you wake up, you get sun, you exercise, you eat proper food, and you constantly, here's one big thing about that I'll add to this, is you give yourself reaffirmations, is that the word?
Reaffirmations.
Reaffirmations. And every day,
Mm-hmm.
you fall into a routine, get some type of, on your phone, get some type of, I use Habitica. It's like it tracks your your day-to-days, your what you want to do with, your dailies, the things you need to accomplish, and all these things. Put it in here. It's like a planner, but more. And you add that to it and the verbal, and suddenly it's not going to be an overnight thing, but in maybe a week or two, maybe a month, those symptoms will go away. I swear you'll lose them.
Absolutely. I mean, I 100% agree with that. So before, kind of during quarantine, I had started for the first time in my life, going to the gym and getting regular exercise. The couple years before that, I would started, I'd walk around Port Moody for 2 hours a day kind of thing, especially during quarantine. And that was even just a huge help. That in and of itself helped more than the antidepressants ever did. Taking the antidepressants didn't feel like they were doing anything except for numbing Are you familiar with the term wall of worry? It's like an ADHD term that
I'm not, but I have that now that you just mentioned it. Holy
right?
shit.
As soon as you hear it, you're intuitively like, yeah, I know what that is.
Oh, yeah. I think I still have it. Shit.
So apparently for people with ADHD, their wall of worry is substantially higher and stronger than neurotypical people, even though I'm kind of the belief that people with ADHD are the neurotypical ones.
Yeah. But that also makes sense because I have ADHD and I worry about shit I shouldn't nonstop.
Yeah, and it prevents you from doing the things that you want to do or know you should do.
100%.
And yeah, so just even walking around, it would start to make that better. And then I had a buddy who moved close, and he had kind of perfected a gym routine since we were in our early 20s when he's working out of town a whole bunch because all he could do after work was work out.
Oh, yeah.
So he kind of trained me a little bit, and the getting into the gym and exercising, and also at that time, during quarantine, I had more time to write. I'm a hobby writer. I wrote a novel during quarantine.
Really?
You
got to plug it. What is it? I'm curious too.
It's called Without Equal. It's not published yet. I've just recently started working with an editor to publish it. I'm going to publish it under my company's name. The whole idea being creators supporting their own content kind of thing, right? So I got to practice what I preach.
Cool. Cool. What's it about?
It is about an immortal god king who hates his position but can't bring himself to surrender it to his successor. Or he hasn't even found a successor is the kind of thing. He has a hard time trusting anyone to take control of the planet, and ultimately anyone who is potentially worthy of taking that position doesn't actually want it either. And so it kind of takes place during this, he throws this annual tournament every year to choose his generals or the other leaders that kind of help him take care of the planet kind of thing. And in this event, the Cascades, it's essentially a competition, the ultimate meritocracy. Whoever is the best in a category in the sense that literally no other person can compete with them, they become the warden of that category. So the warden of song.
Oh, you can't say that now.
What's that?
Can't do that now. Oh, wait, I shouldn't get into that. Cancel culture.
Yeah.
The best at the position doesn't get the job anymore. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm very curious about that. I'm enjoying this. So is it by a tournament of fighting or any type of tournament, like a tournament of math, a tournament of...
Yeah, exactly. It's
literally
any... And if there is a category that didn't exist previously, then an entrant could petition to have the new category introduced. They say there's this unserved area. I think I'm better at it than everyone else. I want it to be in the Cascades. And then it gets added to the Cascade, and then anyone else that wants to compete with them has the chance, right? So a non-combative example would be the warden of the song is Melody, and she is the best musician on the planet. Everything that she says is musical. It sounds like music to your ears, even when she's saying hello.
Right.
And her it's a sci-fi fantasy series, so they have kind of inexplicable powers in the sense that there's arcane and there's science, and they're two sides of the alchemy coin. Arcane is magic in that universe. So they have their planet is kind of divided between people that practice arcane and people that practice science, and then the people that can bring the two together are the alchemists.
Okay.
And Ptolemy is essentially the most powerful alchemist on the planet, which is why he's in charge. And was the first immortal since he was born, kind of thing. There's like mythology about immortals existing on the planet before that kind of thing. But
I think I'm going to make a guess here, and I think it's a very good guess. You've watched Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood.
Absolutely. It's one of the most pivotal shows to me in my growth years.
I knew it. As you're pitching this to me, I'm like, oh yeah, I can see it.
Yeah.
I can see that show. I love that show.
Oh, it's so good.
Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood specifically was
not
the one I watched
not the
twice.
original.
I've watched the whole thing twice. I love it.
In university, during exam season, I ended up watching all 64 episodes over like 2 days while I was supposed to be studying for exams.
Oh my God. Oh, that's crazy.
There's ADHD.
Yeah, no doubt. That is. Yeah, that's to a level. That is to an extreme level. But that goes back to the thing where I listen to the same song on repeat nonstop.
Yeah,
we do it in a certain way, but there's a benefit to it, and there's a bad side to it. But so long as you're not damaging yourself or hurting yourself, then, and too, you probably knew, well, I should be studying.
Yes.
If you don't know, if you're like, I can just do this forever, then maybe there's a real problem. But if you should be studying, if I know I should have sent you that stuff, and I know, these things, is like, well, then maybe it's just a thing of, well, if you know and you actually can't fix it ever, then that's a problem again.
Yeah, I mean, I did end up, I don't think I failed anything that semester, actually, which was kind of surprising because I think I got a D, which was like, that's the line of like,
that's pretty low in university.
The class, but you can't use it as a credit for anything that uses that as, like
and
any higher level classes.
you attribute that to Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood.
Well,
but then you wrote this novel. Right?
It wasn't just Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, honestly. It was like that exam season after Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, I went on to watch like 3 other shows, and I did like a week-long bout of League of Legends where I just it was just before, like kind of between the second round of midterms and the finals. I took a week off, bought a flat of Red Bull, and tried to get to gold in League of Legends.
Oh, nice.
And by the end of it, I actually ended a tier lower in silver than when I started. So an absolute wasted week. But it's,
oh, no. You can't tell the viewers you're in silver.
I did eventually get to gold.
Okay, good.
It was the following season, but I had taken some time off of
mouse
school.
And keyboard, of course, is League of Legends. So, that's interesting. I like MOBAs myself.
Yeah?
I'm a MOBA guy. I like them.
Do you currently still play any?
I do.
What do you play?
I literally stream a MOBA.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What's your streamer tag?
It's Sid Vaughn City.
Sid Vaughn City. Okay.
But I haven't streamed in a while because I had some psychos, because I have my Instagram attached to my
right,
and they got mad at me, and they
why?
Forget my. I was on their team, and have you heard, the game Predecessor? Have you heard of Predecessor? It used to be called Paragon.
Oh, I've heard of Paragon.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's a MOBA from PlayStation 4 days, because it was on PlayStation 4. It was Epic Games before they made
right.
What's that big one? What's the biggest game in the world right now? That stupid game where you build.
Fortnite?
Yeah, Fortnite. So they made Fortnite as an afterthought. They put all their money into Paragon. Everything. Fortnite was an afterthought because of how big PUBG was getting.
Huh.
And so that game took off, and they put no money into it. So they stopped Paragon, and they sold the IP. They sold the whole thing. They got rid of the whole thing.
Wow.
They're like, well, we don't need it anymore. Epic Game. We're making all of our money off a game that costs us nothing because it's a shitty game. It's a shit game.
Yeah.
There's nothing in that game, but somehow that game's fun. I played it, and I was like, yeah, it's fun because it's so almost mindless. I don't like the building part of it, but anyways, so I streamed that game. It's because it came back out under the name Predecessor, and I was playing on the same team as these guys. No one's gonna know what we're talking about, but I don't fucking care. And they okay, so I'm in off lane, obviously by myself, and the jungler, no one comes to help me for like the whole fucking game, and I'm just like, I'm losing to this guy because he's a master ranked guy. I don't know if there's master rank in League of Legends, but it's above Diamond 3.
I think they introduced Master in the last year that I played, which was the year that I got gold. After that, I actually I went back to school. I had taken a year off, got to gold. I didn't take the year off to get to gold. I traveled through Europe and worked for my uncle for a while.
Okay, good. That's good.
And then I got to gold, went back to school, stopped playing. And in that year, they introduced Master Tier because Diamond was getting too convoluted, I guess. And
so Pred has Master and Grandmaster.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. So this guy was Master, and so he's beating me in the lane, but not even by much. And I was
good job.
And because the guy was getting his jungler to come over, so I'm like, so these guys were in a 2-stack or a 3-stack, which is like 2 or 3 people playing on it together. Before the game starts. Anyways, so all I said was like, I was getting so fed up. So I just pinged, I need help 3 times. That was it. And some guy types in and and I'm playing on controller, by the way. I play controller.
That makes games a lot harder for me. I have a hard time with controllers.
It's a lot harder with anyone who plays mouse and keyboard. You're going to be at a disadvantage for sure.
Yeah.
But I can't play mouse and keyboard because I've never had a computer till I was like 15. And I was just like, and it wasn't a gaming computer. I don't know. So some guy it basically tells me like, shut the fuck up or something like that. And I was 1-0. I hadn't even died yet. I just lost my first tower. And I was like, they told me like, stop being such a scrub or something. And I was like, okay. I was like, you know what? Fuck this. And I lost it. And so I just walked, I left my lane and I just started jumping up and down around the guys talking. That was it. And these guys went ballistic and they called me. They were calling me on Discord because they knew my gamer tag. They were typing shit to me. They Googled me. They figured out my name, figured out where I live in real life. And they were like,
what?
Yeah. And they were like threatening me on Discord and shit. And I was
People
just like,
take games way too seriously.
yeah, man, for sure. And so I'm like, okay, I'm not going to stream again for a little while because of that.
That's fair.
Because of that. So I was just like, okay, this is insane.
I saw a YouTube video once about how to enjoy League of Legends, and he presses enter, drags the chat box off screen, and says, "Congratulations, now you can enjoy the game."
Yeah, 100%. So I turned my chat box off. I turned it off.
Smart move.
Yeah, and I should have had it off and I did, and I turned it back on. Fuck. Because like you sometimes have to be like, okay, this guy used his flash or blink or whatever, and it's like, anyways.
Communication is important in those games.
Yeah, but I'm on controller, so I have to like literally, I'm playing and I stop and like provide controller to, it's just like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
Why am I even wasting time on this game when I should be practicing playing music and getting out there and playing live shows? That was actually something. That game was the reason why that I didn't send you the stuff in time. I was on my days off. I was just been playing it too much. I forgot.
Wow.
Yeah. So I mean, I sent you.
It
the
happens
stuff,
to everybody. Like, a big change in my life was I got to a point. It was actually off of a DMT trip,
nice.
but I
DMT
got,
even.
Yeah, it is.
You went
absolutely remarkable.
Have you ever done
mind-blowing.
Shrooms too? Obviously, you didn't just go straight to DMT.
No. I'm quite a prolific psychonaut. I've done quite a bit of exploration with psilocybin, LSD, and DMT. One day I'll do an ayahuasca retreat too. But I came out of
you.
Oh, that would be awesome.
I might join you.
I'll let you know when I'm going.
I'm scared, but I'll do it.
I came out of this trip and it was the most life-changing experience for me. And I got a private concert from Sia because I was listening to her album Music. So the movie that I mentioned earlier, Music, she made an album for it. But in the movie, it features a bunch of other artists singing the songs. But the album that she put out based on it is her singing them. And her versions of almost every single one of those songs is infinitely better than the versions in the movie. So I feel like the movie probably would have been a little bit better if she had used her own singing in it.
Right.
But that album, like, it had a special place in my heart. So when I was trying to figure out how I wanted to optimize my DMT trip, I decided I wanted to listen to that album. It just, like, I was on the rowing machine at the gym and I just, like, got into the zone. And in that moment, like, I knew what I needed to do to prepare for the DMT trip. And while I was in the middle of it, I swear I heard songs from her that weren't even on the album I was listening to. And I've always had this, like, clenching feeling over my heart from anxiety. And it just, like, it literally released. I haven't felt it since. Like, my
That's
anxiety
amazing.
ever
Cheers to
since
that.
has been, like,
That's
pretty much
incredible.
gone.
That's incredible.
And yeah, so I came out of that trip and I just had the most profound, beautiful love of life again. And it made me feel like life was the video game. Like, rather than training a character to have higher skills in a video game, which ultimately just makes me feel unfulfilled,
Mm-hmm.
I can train those skills in real life. I can create things in real life and have adventures and experiences like those games in real life. And ever since I've started living with that belief, those experiences and that, like, self-improvement has been absolutely game-changing for me.
Amazing. And you never got any of that from shrooms? You needed to take it to the next level to really release that, huh?
Yeah, like, I've definitely had benefit from shrooms and LSD, absolutely.
But shorter term.
I actually wouldn't say short. Well, the effects, yes. The trips are much longer because DMT trips are only like 15 to 30 minutes. Although, remarkably, this one, which was like my first DMT breakthrough, it lasted for 2 hours, which is, like, almost
The trip
unheard
was 2
of.
hours?
Yeah, for a DMT, for just vaping DMT, that's, like, unheard of.
Man.
Um,
Did you ever go through the ringer?
Go through the ringer.
Like, did you ever go through some shit on that DMT trip? Or was it all blissful the whole time?
That one, so it was mostly all blissful, but there was, so my roommate, Matthias, was kind of trip sitting for me.
Yeah,
and
as one does.
yeah, and when I first hit it, like, I had taken 2 hits, and you have to take 3 to get to the other side, kind of thing. And after the first 2 hits, I was just, like, dumbfounded. I, like, didn't know where I was. I just, like, looking around the room, trying to figure things out. And after a second, I noticed the pen in my hand, and I was like, oh yeah, I need to take another hit. So I just put it in my mouth, and I started inhaling for as long as I could, and then held it. And then a few seconds later, I looked at Matthias, and I was like, I don't know where it is, but I'm there.
Nice.
And it just, like, it swept me away, and I immediately felt like I had all of the problem-solving power that any human being could ever have. So I asked him to ask me some questions, just to, like, test the problem-solving capabilities, kind of thing, right? And I was expecting more, like, interpersonal questions or, like, things relevant to our current personal lives. But he drops me with, how do we solve overpopulation and world hunger? And I got these flashes of, like, visions. And have you ever played the Mass Effect games?
Yes, I have.
So
Every one but the first one.
Okay.
2 and 3. I didn't have an Xbox 360. Yeah. Why? Are you going to talk about Are you talking about the first one?
Well, I just can't remember if he has the flashbacks in the so when he touches the relic, he gets, like, visions of the Reapers coming, kind of thing, right? I feel like he maybe sees them in the second one also, but I can't 100% remember. They're definitely
There's
in the
relics
first one.
in the second one, I think.
But he sees these flashes of essentially, like, death and destruction of what's going to happen when the Reapers come. And as soon as Matthias asked about world hunger and overpopulation, I got, like, a similar vibe kind of flashes hit me. And I immediately knew that, like, this isn't the answer that he's looking for. So, like, I'm not going to share this answer with him right now. And I asked him for other questions. And then he just, like, kind of started to look like a Lego person. And I just, like, got pulled away into DMT land. And everything around me became animated. And it began to cycle through, like, an uncountable number of different animation styles. And it felt like I traveled through every different universe that had ever been conceived of.
But when did the anxiety come off the heart?
This is probably the most like quote religious experience that I've ever had. So after asking those questions, he went back over to the chair and I just kind of like laid back. It swept me away. All of the animated styles kind of got sucked together into like a black hole. And then I saw two versions of myself, a younger version and an older version, and they like touched fingers, like that painting, the Creation of David or whatever it's called. Can't remember exactly.
Come on,
or
Jez,
Creation of Adam, I think.
Oh, I can't believe it. I should be able to say this. This is in the Sistine Chapel. It's is it God and
I think it's God and Adam.
Okay.
Yeah.
I should know this, but I can't, don't quote me.
And at the fingertips where they touched, that became like a black hole and it sucked everything and me into it. And then all of a sudden, everything went white, but at the same time, it was an explosion of multicolored like tendrils, just like things like snaking around and twisting through each other. And it felt like I was face to face with the creator. And it felt like a confined space, but also infinitely large, which is just like the weirdest sensation to have. Like it's indescribable to compare those two things in words. I don't even know how to begin it. But
yeah, but I also can kind of picture it.
Okay, awesome. I'm glad.
Yeah. And so that's when the
yeah, as soon as I came face to face with that, it released, and I just like in that moment I knew a lot of like intuitive information that I didn't know before. And I got to keep a bunch of it coming out, although like the amount of processing power your brain has on DMT, like we're not built to maintain that much information.
Yeah, I bet.
So definitely you lose a lot of it. But as soon as I came out of my trip, I spent like the next 2 hours writing a whole bunch, just trying to document as much as I could to keep it as fresh as I could.
That's good.
And that was, honestly, that was kind of the moment that inspired me to start this whole thing.
Oh, really?
Not just the podcast, but my company. Like, essentially, I became aware of my purpose in life. Like, everyone needs to find their own purpose. There is no way to tell someone else what their purpose is.
Yeah.
But when you know what your purpose is, it is absolutely life-changing, and in some ways you become unstoppable because you know what you're here to do. And it doesn't matter what anyone tells you about it or how anyone thinks about it or you, like you're going to keep doing that.
Yes. And funny enough, psychedelics have a way of showing it to us.
All right, we are back from our break again, and now Jez is going to share his psychedelic story with us.
I'm going to drink a little more, and trust me, I won't take one more break this time. Do one more cheers before...
yeah. Oh, I just spilled that on my shirt.
Okay. So, similar to you in the fact that... Okay, let me start at the beginning.
Please do.
So I did shrooms when I was in high school, actually, which I'm sure a lot of us did. And the two experiences that I did were incredible. Everything was fantastic. I had no, like...
Is that the only time you've done it in high school, or have you done it since?
Oh, no. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I do it now.
Okay.
Yeah,
excellent.
I do it actively.
Me too.
Yeah.
We should trip together sometime.
Yeah, we should. We absolutely should. But I stopped for a long time. Because when I went through that brain trauma episode that I went through, I stopped being able to, I couldn't smoke weed. I couldn't do anything. Couldn't drink. The next day I would feel like agoraphobic. And if I'd smoked weed, then I actually still don't smoke weed. I don't really like it anymore. But
weed definitely feels like one that like a lot of people end up growing out of as they get older. Like there's definitely some people that are great examples of they will smoke it tons forever for the rest of their lives. But I feel like the majority of people, they get to an age and it just like, it doesn't do the same thing for them that it used to, and they realize that they don't need it anymore.
That's me. That's fully me. It just, what's the point? For me, there was no point anymore.
Yeah.
And which sucks because I used to have fun. But at some point I was like,
I'm sure you still have fun.
I was like, oh no, yeah, and I used to have fun with weed. I still have lots of fun, but like I say I smoke now, or I haven't in a long time, but I would just be like watch, say, The Simpsons or something. I don't know why I'm using this as an example because this literally happened to me. Was I was watching it, and I just started breaking down every scene, every joke, everything, and it just literally turned into like a comic book to me.
Huh.
And it was so suddenly unsophisticated and so basic.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck, why ruin The Simpsons for myself? Are you kidding me? Because it was, I mean, it ruined itself, let's be honest. It turned to shit.
I mean, yeah, you can only run the same thing for so long before you, like,
Yeah.
definitely.
It was the best show ever. And then I was like, okay. And so I was like, I'm going to stop smoking. So anyways, back to the shrooms. I'm just going to get into now I'll tell the whole thing. We are on a podcast after all. The point is talking. So I did 2 trips in high school that were fantastic. I loved it. I had like a pet rock that looked like a cow's head.
Nice.
It's the stupidest fucking thing. But I was like, you guys see this looks like a cow's head, right? And everyone's like, I see it now. I see it. You know, that's kind of like how shrooms are if you don't take it to the macro level, like the very far level.
Yeah.
And then I was telling all my friends we should do it, like, and this was after I had graduated and I was older and I was back in Revelstoke visiting. And I was like, yeah, let's get some. And we got some from a friend of mine's dad, actually, which is hilarious. And I was the one who was like, that's not enough, that's not enough, that's not enough. And we would put it in a weed crusher.
Oh, that's smart. I've used a slap chop. Yeah. That's actually, slap chop, I think, has been the best way to grind it up in a powder so far.
And the problem with it is we didn't measure it first. And so
yeah.
I'm like, put this in your tea. That's got to be like 2, 3, 4 at the most grams. And
it's 12 grams in the tea.
Yeah, legit on all of us. Like probably roughly that much.
Wow.
And my friends couldn't even walk. I couldn't even walk.
Shrooms especially, they make you so melty. Like on the higher doses, it's the first time I did it, my friend, we were outside like walking around through different trails and stuff. And one of my friends was like, okay, every 40 minutes, I'm going to tell us to get up and move. Otherwise, we will never move again.
True. That's true. But at this point, I mean, like quite literally, our legs did not function. And it was just fucked. He looked like this teddy bear. Like an evil teddy bear, and I was in the bathroom because I was like trying to escape because I first tried to leave the house, and they had this husky that was like, this little shit husky wasn't trained properly. I love dogs, but this dog wasn't trained properly, and I go to leave the house, and there's snowbanks like, you know, up to my shoulders, just Revelstoke, and so there's like a cutout path to like the fence.
Yeah.
And I'm like walking through the path so I can't escape this fucking husky's in my face, and I'm looking down at it, and his mouth is literally like smiling like
Cheshire the Cat smile.
Yeah. But his eyes were going evil. And I'm like,
shit.
Get the fuck, like I just need to get out of this property. Like I'm like under the street lamps, like it's dark and I'm just fucked. And I finally get past the dog and I'm walking to the fence, and suddenly I see this head, like the back of the head slowly come up, super slow. And I just see the back of the head looking outward. And I'm like, I stop and I'm like, what the fuck is that? And I'm like, I'm too scared to say anything. I'm like, it could have been one of my friends.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was like, I'm pretty sure all my friends are still in the house. Who the fuck is that? And why'd they lift their head so slow? So I go back in the house. I was like, fuck it. I'm not going outside. I go back into the bathroom, sit by the toilet. And then all of a sudden, I'm finally like, I remember my dad telling me this trick because he did acid when he was younger a few times. And he was fucked up. And he would light a lighter, and the flame was the only thing that would seem normal.
Interesting.
So I lit the lighter, and the flame normal. It was normal. It never seemed weird. It just, the fire was fire.
Huh. I need to try that.
Yeah, it's with shrooms anyways, it works. I don't know, but and so I'm like, oh, but then all of a sudden I hear Jez, and I'm like, holy fuck, did I just hear that in real life or did I hear that in my mind? So I go completely quiet. I'm like beside the toilet, so it's kind of thinking I have to puke. 'Cause you know shrooms make you puke.
Yeah.
Jez! And I'm like, oh fuck, okay, I heard that. I fucking
That's
heard
real.
that.
That's
I
real.
heard that. And I suddenly hear this like moving, like, and like Jez, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? And the noise is getting louder and louder. The bathroom door is open, and all of a sudden, I see this head from like the floor poke around sideways, like, and it looks like a teddy bear, like a fucking teddy bear. And I was like, what the fuck?
Like the Danganronpa teddy bear?
It's just, like, it's just a fucked up teddy bear. And it's like, Jez. And I'm like, and I just can't say anything to him. And I'm like, oh, it's my buddy Dan. I'm like, oh, thank God it's my buddy Dan. And he's super fucked up too. We're both so fucked up. And so he comes to the bathroom and we end up, like, long story short, we went through, I thought it was never going to end. That was a bad trip, bad trip. But it ended up, that trip finally ended and we came out of it. But that actually wasn't even the trip I wanted to tell you about. So I stopped doing that. The reason I brought that up is because I stopped doing shrooms because of that. That was when I was about 19.
Bad trips will turn people off of them.
Yeah, and
sometimes
it was
forever.
fully my fault.
It almost always, like a bad trip is 100% a personal decision. Well, not necessarily a decision, but it's a personal experience in the sense that you have the power to make it not a bad trip if you understand what you're doing.
Exactly. But I was 19.
Yeah. You just didn't have the experience.
I didn't know what the fuck I was doing.
Yeah.
I should never have done that much. So
yeah, that's a huge dose for a first trip.
That was my fault. I did that. Everyone involved, guys, the gals, I fucked them all up. A lot of them had never done it before. And I was just like, you good?
Sure. Yeah, I'll take some more.
I was like,
thank you.
I was like, oh shit. Oh, that's not enough. That's not. Trust me, it's the funnest time in the world. You guys will have the best fucking time. And people were puking and the house was a mess and it was just
especially
bad.
On 12 grams. Yeah, that is.
Well, it was like, I don't know the
however
exact
high
amount,
it was, but yeah, like a first time or first couple times on shrooms should definitely be under 4 grams.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I think 4 grams even now is where I like to cap it for myself.
I mean, yeah, that's still a high dose for an experienced person.
The last time I did it was 4 grams and it was great, but it was tough. It's tough. It's always tough for me.
In what way?
That's why I do shrooms. It brings up, as we like to call it, in our album night. We have a thing called album night.
Oh.
Me and 5 friends, we get together about every 3 months. And we bring one album. If you have it. If you don't, you can put it on digital. We go into
like a vinyl album.
Yeah, vinyl album.
Awesome.
And you don't tell anybody what it is. Everybody brings a snack or a food.
Mm-hmm.
We light candles in the basement. And we put on each album from front to back with this great loud sound system. After doing shrooms, we do the shrooms. And you do as much as or little as you want. We do the shrooms, then we put the album on.
I hope you invite me to one of these someday.
Well, I think you're definitely a good candidate. Unfortunately, we're at max capacity 6. If some guy bails out.
All right, I'm first in line.
Yeah, you're first in line. Absolutely. And so we have it on the TV screen, and it is the album cover. You have to listen to the whole album, no matter what it is. It could be some guys bring some
love that
fucked up
idea
music.
So much. I love it.
So they were doing this long before me, and they couldn't replace their 6th. So the guy left, and they just kept bringing a revolving door of guys. Because I moved to Vancouver. These guys from Vancouver were already doing this.
Oh, okay.
And they kept trying to replace it, and the guys would just think it was like a time to get drunk or something like that. Like we bring alcohol, but it's not about getting drunk.
Alcohol is such a different vibe from mushrooms.
Totally. And like you can sip a beer or something, whatever. And so they kept inviting me because they knew, and this was before I even was. They didn't even know I was a musician because I wasn't even really at the time. I was just dabbling with it in my
budding and young.
Yeah, I was in my own I was only playing for myself and my girlfriend and maybe my parents.
Okay.
And I had this burning desire to play in front of other people because I was like, I feel like it's good, and I want other people to hear my music. Oh, thank you. But it was more that I wanted people to hear my art and my burning desire to hear my lyrics, and because I liked it. Some songs, not a lot of the songs I played here, but like a lot of the songs in my next album, they're like, it's about social commentary and the way of the world and how the.
Can we know the name of your new album?
It's called Ghost Lake.
Ghost Lake. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so that much is out, and there's a song called Ghost Lake. I wrote it at Ghost Lake.
Where is Ghost Lake?
Ghost Lake is near Cochrane, just outside of Calgary in Alberta.
Okay.
And I spent a month there at a friend's place to write the album.
That is such an artist thing to do.
Yeah, I know. I was like, yeah, I have to do this because he's been asking me to come out forever, and because of COVID, I hadn't seen him in 2 years.
Right.
And he was a guy that I spent a lot of time with. I grew up with him since grade 1. Revelstoke's a small town, so I've known him. We went to school together all the way from grade 1 until he moved away, after high school, and we both moved away. But we went to Europe together and all that shit. But so yeah, we do the shrooms, then we put the records on. Oh, the reason why it was tough for me, that's what it is. So
yeah.
Because I don't know if this happens to you, but so they were asking me to come back. They were asking me to come back. They were asking me not to come back, but to come do it. And I was like, I can't do shrooms ever again. So I had gone through all these mental health problems from the testosterone loss. And a friend of mine is actually a social worker. He's gotten the guy who organizes it.
That is fascinating.
It is fascinating.
I would like to meet him.
It is fascinating. Yeah, he's a great guy. He's a very good friend, and I've never met a better social worker in my life.
I honestly believe that psilocybin mushrooms are one of the oldest and truest medicines that we've ever been given. So anyone who is willing to promote that in society, I think, is one of the best healers, or social work in the sense of social community on the whole. I feel like promoting psychedelics makes you a social worker to some degree. So being a social worker who's willing to do that with other people makes you probably one of the best at what you do.
Yeah, he is. He really is. It's crazy. And it's funny because I always think to myself whenever I'm hanging out with him, I'm like, is he social working me right now? Because he's always like making me feel better. He always makes me feel better. And he does that with everyone.
That's probably one of the reasons he's such a good social worker. He just does it naturally. It's who he is.
I know. I do think that is what it is. And it's just odd that he's also into psychedelics. Because how did they know about it? They knew about it before. It was common knowledge now that it actually does help as an antidepressant.
Mm-hmm.
We were doing this way before that. And not me. They were doing it way before that. So I guess they already knew.
Well, the more you do it, the more you it feels weird to say because there's no empirical evidence to back it up, but the more you do it,
True.
The more you know that it is helping you.
Oh yeah.
Unless you're one of the people that only ever takes it to go get fucked up at a rave.
Yeah.
But as long as you are doing the reintegration part, then everyone that does it a lot knows that it's helping you.
100%. Every person who does a macro dose of it when they're not drunk, eventually knows, wow, this makes me feel happy for months. Don't know how,
yeah.
But it's better than any antidepressant.
And it's not like
I've
you
ever
need to
been on.
take it every week or every day to feel better for months. You do one macro trip and you feel great for months.
You do. Every time I was because I've done the antidepressants. I've been in that place.
Mm-hmm.
And so they finally convinced me to come. And he's like, you do whatever you want. Because I felt this pressure, I'm going to have to do tons or something like that. And the first record that I brought, I had a Pavarotti album.
I don't know who that is.
Pavarotti is opera singer from an Italian opera singer, very famous opera singer.
That must have caught them off guard.
Yeah, it did. They thought I was going to bring Sublime, 100%. But I'm well versed in music. My grandfather he was. Okay, no, he is Italian, but he's not alive anymore. That's why I'm talking about in the past tense.
Gotcha.
But he was an opera singer. So I heard he would sing all the time at the dinner table.
So your whole family's always been musical. Like,
Yeah.
Guitars everywhere. Grandfather's an opera singer.
Yeah, my dad sings folk. Like he sings like the type of music you heard today.
If he loves Dylan that much, it's got to be folk.
Yeah, he's got more of a country sound than me.
Okay.
But my Italian my nonno, as they're called, he sang opera. Every family dinner would sing opera. Every single family dinner, he would make us all listen. He would sing old Italian pop songs or opera songs and stuff. So it's in my genes. So I brought the Pavarotti record and I did some shrooms and so anyway, so I get into the shroom. I start feeling the shrooms again, and I'm going into it scared because the last time I did it was horrible.
Right.
And I've been scared, period, for the last however many years because of the anxiety from the concussion.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just like sitting there trying to not be scared, but I'm scared. I'm anxious. My anxiety's through the roof, and I'm doing mushrooms, right? And you know how it can be. Like if you're vulnerable, you're
Very much
at your
so.
most vulnerable state. So I'm sitting there and we're listening to music. And I can't remember what albums were brought that day. I really wish I do remember. I think somebody brought Derek and the Dominoes. So that, Layla, the album from what's his name? Can't remember what the hell's his name. Eric Clapton. He had a fake. He did a fake
Eric
band
Clapton.
called Derek and the Dominoes.
Oh,
That
wow.
album is the Layla album that's like his most famous albums. He goes under the pseudonym Derek and the Dominoes. There's another pseudonym.
I'll have to check that out.
Every song on it's incredible. And so I'm just like, we're listening to the music, and I think someone else brought some fucked up stuff. Anyway, so I'm just like trying to hold it together.
Mm-hmm.
But then what happens is the shrooms, at least this happens to me, it makes me think about all of the things that I've been avoiding thinking about while I'm in my sober state.
You can't hide from psychedelics.
You cannot hide your
problems. It gives you exactly what you need. And that's one of the reasons why I don't necessarily believe in bad trips happen in the sense that, yes, they make us feel like shit and they're scary and they can put you off of the substance for a long time. But it is still the substance giving you what you need, and you need to be brave enough to confront it.
Yes. That's why every one of my trips is a bad trip. I was so down in that dark place. Like, so down in there that every trip was all the dust that I had swept under the rug and avoided it, and the dust, proverbial dust.
Right, yeah.
That I had swept under the rug for the last however many years. The rug's just lifted right up. It's all right in my face. I go to the bathroom to take a leak or something while I was on the shrooms there, and I remember trying to avoid the mirrors. You can't avoid the mirrors. I'm washing my hands.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at myself, right? And I literally have a conversation, a dialogue with myself. And I'm not going to talk about what I talked about, but man, the conclusion I would come to at the end of each shroom trip, which I every time thought I wasn't going to make it through, thought I was never going to make it through. So I was like, I'm hooked now. Because the first one, I remember getting a lift home from my, at the time, girlfriend, now wife. And she was like, wow, you are like your old self. You're happy. You're so calm and confident. And I was like telling her, I was like, love is the answer. You know what I mean?
Love is the answer, man. The world needs more love.
Yeah, and it's true. And so each time she would see it and be like, holy shit, he's better and better every time. And I was off the pills, the happy pills, and I was the depressant pills or whatever. And I was, same.
Yeah.
And I was now doing this, and I would be happy and totally fine and not anxious and fully grounded for 2 months at a time. Then the next album would come, and I think the next one I brought Lateralis by Tool, and I wanted guys to kind of hear some of the more fucked up stuff. But the most beautiful thing about album night, what I realized was each six of us was all going through the exact same thing. Everyone was going through it at the same time together. So it was like group therapy.
Absolutely. Group trips are always group therapy.
And we would talk, but mostly about the music, but then we'd also sometimes talk about each other's feelings just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
And men need that.
Yeah.
We don't have that.
Definitely don't do it enough.
We don't have it.
Yeah.
We don't even have it.
It's kind of funny that we need something like psychedelics, or like a lot of people would originally turn to alcohol to but alcohol is so destructive.
It makes it worse in the end.
Yeah.
It makes it way worse in the end. And so we don't have that. As men, I never had it growing up in Revelstoke, the small town, rough and tumble
Never
town.
had it.
Never had it. You know, it was just like, oh, suck it up. Mm-hmm. And then eventually that was too much. It grinds a guy down.
Yeah.
And we never had it. And so now when I do have it, and when I have this, like, you know, these guys, you know, being like, it's going to be okay, as another fellow, like, friend, a man, not like a female, like my mom or, you know, my girl or something like that. Like, that's
someone that's used to talking about their emotions.
Yeah, exactly. It's not the same.
Yeah.
You need to hear it from a peer.
Yeah.
And so album night and I recommend it to every single person out there. Do an album night. I'm telling you.
I mean, they changed my life. It wasn't exactly the same thing, but the first 2 times that I did, well, actually, okay, so let's say the first time I did LSD, it was sort of a similar thing in the sense that my buddy who, like, he was the one that introduced me to pretty much anything of that sort, and he had a couple albums picked out, and he's like, okay, I did some research, and, like, I picked out my favorite, well, not my favorite albums, but, like, I picked out some albums that are, like, I think will be really good for this experience. And one of the most, like, mind-blowing experiences I've ever had to this day was listening to Tetsuo and Youth by Lupe Fiasco right as we were peaking on LSD, because he does this thing, the album goes through the changes of the seasons in a musical way. So when he starts the album, I can't remember what season it starts in, but the songs, as the seasons transition, they open with a very long instrumental solo that really makes you, like, there's cold wind blowing, or, like, you can hear, like, children laughing in the background, or that kind of thing, right? And it really puts you in that season. And he takes you through a full year in that album, and it was just an absolutely life-changing experience. From that moment on, I was absolutely enthralled by the power of music and psychedelics.
Was it shrooms or acid?
That one was LSD. I did LSD before I tried shrooms.
Oh, okay.
So that was, like, my first trip.
And how do you compare them?
There's some differences, definitely. And it can be kind of hard to explain because at certain dosage levels, they have very similar effects. But personally, for me, I find that LSD makes me feel like my brain is working the way that it was always supposed to.
Okay.
And, like,
interesting.
I was lucky enough to have, like, the friend that when I went to Mexico this summer, I went to visit a friend who, actually my roommate, Matthias, the guy that trip sat for me on the DMT trip, and he's from Mexico. His family is there. We went and stayed with his parents for 2 weeks, and then we used that as a home base. They let us use one of their cars so we could drive around wherever we wanted to. And we went to this place called Los Manantiales, which is like a natural spring that's like an hour away from any cities. And it just has a bunch of different pools of natural water that's clear and beautiful. Some of them are man-made, some of them are natural. And the friend of his from high school that went with us, and there was 4 of us there, she brought a vial of LSD. So we got to do LSD in Mexico in this place that was just the most absolute beautiful, lush green forest, like the most thriving forest you've ever seen, with the clearest water you've ever seen. And it, like, oh man, I feel so lucky to have been able to do it in Mexico, considering, like, normally it'd be super sketchy to get drugs in Mexico of any sort, right? But since we had a local person who had a stash she'd used before, we knew it was safe, we knew it was good stuff. And it just, like, it felt like the universe provided that experience for me, and it was something that I needed. I can't even remember why I got on that tangent, but... Nice.
No, because I asked you about which one you preferred.
Right,
right.
No,
which the difference.
The difference, yeah. So mushrooms, I feel like they make me more lethargic and heavy, and it's definitely more of, like, an internal emotional sensation. Whereas LSD I find to be more... a little more energetic and a little more, like, cognitive, in the sense that, like, my brain it's not emotional, it's, like, rational in a way, kind of thing. Whereas mushrooms are emotional in the sense that you can't run from your emotions, you can't hide them, you can't ignore them or put them away.
That's true.
If you are feeling something, even the slightest bit deep down inside, that will come to the front and you can't escape it. Whereas on LSD,
I know
like
it.
that will still happen, but it's a lot more like, it's almost like looking at yourself from like the bird's eye view, 30,000 feet up kind of thing. Whereas mushrooms is much more like you're inside of yourself.
Okay.
Instead
That's
of
good.
looking down on yourself.
The reason why I asked that is because I've actually never done LSD.
No?
No. And I want to try it.
Well, I could probably help you out with that.
Yeah, I think that's probably a good call. Because I've got, a lot of friends have done it, and even my dad talks about it, but I was like, apparently the beneficial effects are similar to that of psilocybin. So that I'm all about that.
In a clinical setting, they are almost identical. And a lot of people don't like LSD because of the length of the trip, because it's like 8 to 12 hours, where shrooms
Is
are
it
like
really?
4 to 8.
Holy shit.
Yeah,
that is
but
a long
I
time.
actually see that as a benefit, because you like, if you're using it for therapeutic purposes, you get more time to have infinite therapy.
Oh, that is exactly the only reason why I'm using it. I don't
Yeah.
do shrooms in a party sense.
Like
No
I
way.
said, they are like the oldest medicine that we've ever had access to, and
And we're finding that out now.
yeah,
Finally, through empirical studies.
after having turned our backs on it for
I
so
know.
long.
Well, you've seen the documentaries on why they turned their backs on it. There's no money to be made.
Yeah, there's right. A drug that actually solves the problem is not a drug pharmaceutical companies want.
No, not with one dose, and not one that grows in your backyard in a heap of shit.
Easiest to grow. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So that's my shroom story, anyways.
Thank you for sharing that, especially on a podcast. I know something that I need to get more comfortable about, because it is like, not get more comfortable about, something that I've wanted to get more comfortable about is openly talking about it, because like
About
they've been
what?
psychedelics, because they've been absolutely life-changing for me. And I know they can be life-changing for other people too, and a lot of people
Me
are
too.
scared.
I've been actually trying to convince my dad to do it.
Oh man, my dad is so anti-drug of any sort, and it's because of he grew up with violently alcoholic parents. And
Same.
All right, they're probably
we are pretty similar.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It is wild.
Yeah. Anyways, go ahead. Yeah, but the same. Yeah.
Yeah. So like he has no idea that I've done any psychedelics, but he's actually
Oh,
kind
really?
of
You never told him?
not yet. But like for the
Well,
last
hopefully
10
he watches
years,
this episode.
yeah, he's actually like he's helping me with my company, an aspect of it. He's a data scientist, and part of my company, I'm trying to build an automated like AI powered trading bot, so we can take money from the market and then fund these fun endeavors with fake money. Since it's fake anyway, you might as well get it from the source.
I mean,
So
if that works, sign me up.
right? I mean, if that works, it changes everything. But
Yeah.
until then, I'm hoping that another one of the beliefs that I came out of that DMT trip with was that when you do what you love, the world is happy to take care of you. And that
that's
was
a nice way to think
kind
about
of the motivation for like taking this leap of faith, is that if I put my heart and soul into creating things that I want to create, then there will be people that appreciate it and people that are willing to help support me in doing it, especially if I am actually so the thing that I'm trying to do is promote individual creators, right? I want to destroy the big business model. Big business has only ever made the world worse.
Yeah.
And
Totally.
promoting individual creators to create their own thing, to put out their own thing, to be their own boss, their own team. And that's one of the things that I'm trying to do, is build a suite of AI tools that are essentially like the accounting, the legal, the marketing department, all of these things that regular people can't afford to have a team of 50 people doing for them.
Yep.
The
Like
AI
do your
bots
taxes
can
and
do
things
for
like
them.
that.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't waste 3 weeks. Well, I mean, the ranch was funny, so I don't know if it was wasted, but it was an eye-opening 3 weeks in some
Is
ways.
that with Ashton Kutcher?
Yeah,
I couldn't get past, I think, the second episode. It was weird. The tension between him and Sam Elliott.
yeah, his dad.
If
Bo.
you don't drive a Dodge,
Yes.
then you ain't a man.
Yeah, that was such a good impression
I'm
of
Sam Elliott. You like my mustache? I should start singing songs like that.
Yeah, you can sample some here. I'd love to hear how that sounds.
Sam Elliott song. He's got a great voice.
He does.
I do
it
a
would be
good
a good radio
impersonation of
voice.
him, yeah.
But yeah, so like my dad doesn't know, even though he's like kind of helping me. And one day I want him to be on the podcast, actually. So whether he hears it from an episode of the podcast, I was kind of thinking that I tell him on the podcast, which
Ooh.
is like kind of spicy and a little dramatic. But
How mad do you think he would get? Or like, what do you think his reaction would be?
I'm like, my fear is that he would just shut down and walk out. But I don't think he would actually do that. I'm just not entirely sure what he would say.
Interesting.
Yeah. But like the thing is, he's an incredibly intellectual person, and he loves like mind games, and he loves learning, and he loves creative things, but he's never been like, he's never had a support network that would allow him to embrace those kind of creative sides of himself, sort of thing. So I think he like shuts a lot of it away. He had a huge love for comic books. He's got a collection of like 17,000 comic books.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
And any of them worth anything? Has he ever checked?
I mean, he's got ones that go back to the 50s. Like, there's definitely ones in there that are worth stuff. He actually had originally some from like the 30s, but in his 20s, he sold them to help pay for college.
Okay.
So those ones would have been worth a lot more.
Shit, that
but
sucks.
like, he got to a point where he was like, he would buy an edition to read and an edition to store for like collector value.
That's the way to do it. That's the way to do it.
But yeah, so like,
You never take it out. Never take it out of the package.
yeah, I mean, every single one of his comics, even the ones he's read, are now individually packaged in their plastic bags and stored in boxes. And
yeah, I have the first edition Charizard shadowless holographic.
I
have that one.
One of my
Worth $1
oldest
million.
friend, actually.
Not mine, but
Is it actually?
if it's 10 out of 10, if it's ranked 10 out of 10 in like mint, it's worth $1 million. Mine's 7 out of 10. So it's worth nothing. Maybe like 25,000.
That's a steep fall off.
Maybe like 25,000, something like that.
One of my oldest friends, one of his first packs of Pokemon cards was like a first edition Charizard holographic.
Oh, the same one as me.
Yeah, so
same thing goes.
I wonder
every goal I scored playing hockey, my dad would buy me a pack.
Nice.
Yeah,
I like
so
that. I like
scored
that.
a lot of goals. I scored a lot of goals, baby.
So, yeah, we got to wrap up. Ricardo's got to get out of here soon. But before we wrap up, sorry, Ricardo, one more question. I need to ask everyone that's on this podcast the first time, what does creativity mean to you?
I'm going to just give me a sec here. I'm going to actually think about this. I've never thought about this before in my life.
I feel like a lot of people probably haven't, which is one of the reasons why I like this question so much.
I think to me personally, because I know this is what you asked, what does it mean to me?
Mm-hmm.
Creativity is like, to me, it is not just, it's everything. It means everything. It's, everything you do, every single thing you do is created by you. So, everything from the clothes you wear, to the way that you want yourself to be perceived, to the way that you want to perceive yourself to other people, to, the way that you even write your pen on a paper, the way that you look when you make a conscious effort to do anything that's not a subconscious thing, you're creating it out of your conscious mind. And so that's what I think your creativity is anything that is of your conscious mind, not of your subconscious mind. So that goes from, like I said, if you're thinking about the way you're writing on a piece of paper, sometimes you just write, right? You're not thinking about it. It's just shitty scribble. Or when you want to make it look good, then you're being creative. When you're making something that you want yourself or others to enjoy or be perceived in a certain way, then you're being creative. And not just how you do it, but how that you say it. And even, with music, it's not just like, oh, I wrote a script, I'm creative. Or no, I made a painting, I'm creative. It's like, well, no, everybody's creative. Everybody's creative in a different way. Yeah. So to me, it's anything that's in your conscious mind and not your subconscious mind. Whatever you do in your conscious mind is creativity. And you take it as far or as not far as that you want to take it. Some of us take it further and some of us don't. But every single person is creative. So that's what I think about it. And I've never thought about that.
I like that answer a lot, because to me, to be human is like, we were born to be creators. To be human is to be artists. And in my experience personally, being creative is the most fulfilling thing that we can be. Like, when we are actively attempting to make something new or actively attempting to direct the course of our lives, like when you take control of you, stop trying to control outside things, and just like create for you, create your life, the life that you want, create the things that you want to create. Like, if you're not satisfied with the TV shows out there, write your own show, write your own book. If you don't like the books that you've been reading.
I've said that exact same thing.
Really?
Exact. That exact same thing with TV shows specifically.
That's
crazy.
A big one, because like there's been a lot of not great content that's got funding, and you have to ask yourself, like,
I like to call it dog shit.
Yeah, I definitely used a delicate way of putting it, but a lot of it is certainly dog shit.
Yeah. Oh, it's bad.
Yeah.
Netflix just has unlimited money, giving it to anyone. Like, come on. It's not how it works.
Like, there are so many talented creators out there with phenomenal ideas that are like true works of passion that would be received as good of, if not better than, Squid Games, the best thing that Netflix has ever put out. Yeah. And they choose to take absolute garbage, and then instead of letting the people who passionately put their heart and soul into this work, they'll hire a team of people that are doing it for the paycheck.
That's almost exclusively what they all do.
Yeah.
And that's the same thing with music. Ricardo and I were talking about that earlier. It's like everyone who hands out government grants too, none of them even make music or even know how to make music. And it's like, well, why would that person be a good gatekeeper of releasing money to anyone who's making or needs the money to make an album? It makes absolutely no sense. And it's the same thing with the government controlling CBC and everything. Like, well, they don't control them, but they fund them. You know what I mean? So
right.
It's the same. And so it's like, well, it's no wonder why junk comes out constantly, because they have an infinite flow of cash that they just hand out. They hire college professors rather than, like, I'll just say, like, somebody like me. I'm going to know what sounds good with music.
Yes. If you want to make good music, you need musicians involved.
Exactly. But the thing is music's subjective.
Incredibly subjective.
But to a certain degree, because there is music theory. Now, you can't
Everyone knows if you don't hit a note and it sounds bad.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Everyone knows, oh, that song is actually shit. But there is music where you're like, okay, that song is really good, but it's just not for me. That's the difference. So if you're handing out government grants to say musicians, as a musician, you can be like, okay, that's personally not something that I like, but I know that'll be great. Mm-hmm. Yeah, let's give it to them. But because I remember when early on, the first single I ever released was called Kansas when I was 23 in Toronto. Holy shit. And it's actually a very good song. I'll send it to you. I forgot
Please
about
do,
it.
Yeah.
It's very similar to Lulu.
Okay. I really like Lulu. So.
Okay, good. And I remember I sent it to this thing called Reverb Nation, and they were like, we're going to do a review of it, and if it's like if 10 out of the, or 8 of the, or 9 out of the 10 of our like professional music critiquers like it, then we'll put it on our front page. So I did, and I think I got one under. I know I got one under the amount, and the last person to critique it, he or she said, all they said was, because everyone else was like, this song's beyond radio ready. This song's amazing. Or like, so 8 of them said this and 2 of them said no. But the one other person who said no was just like, they gave me a good reason why. Like,
That's appreciated because at least you have feedback,
Exactly.
like something to work off of.
and I don't hate on that. Like, I wanted the feedback. Everyone else said it was incredible. The last person, all they said was, if this song came on the radio, I would turn it off. That's all they said. And I paid for that. And so I was like, okay, that person is just a jealous hater.
Yeah.
100%. You
Haters
would
gonna
never
hate.
you got paid to give that answer? So you heard my song and it was better than anything you've done. That's all that I could think of in my mind. You're fucking junk. You're junk and you're here doing this job. You're not making music anymore. And this is your answer to me? This 23-year-old. And
Without
but that
context,
really
too.
fucking stabbed me in the heart.
Like, if you're going to give that response to someone, tell them why you would turn it off. Like,
Exactly.
what about it grates on you so much?
Exactly.
And
so
if you can't tell them that, then it's probably because they're jealous.
that's exactly what I thought. Tell me why at least, and then I'll be like, oh, that hurts, but it's not hurt. Doesn't hurt as bad as just being like stabbed by the system. The system being like,
Oh, man.
You
All
know-
the system does is stab people in the back.
yeah. And so I'm just like, every time I'm trying to get ahead, I get just haters. There's just, and I'm real now that I'm older, I realize that's never that the haters will be perpetually around you. no
Oh,
matter
there's
what.
always going to be haters. Yeah, it's about finding your audience because they're like on a planet with 7 billion people, you will find 1 million people that are your audience, and that
Yeah.
million people will support you for the rest of your life, and like you can make a good living off of 1 million fans.
Yeah, come on. Where are you all? Come on.
We'll find you eventually.
Come to me. Yeah.
On that note, I think we need to wrap up because our sound engineer needs to get out of here. All right. Thank you very much for being on the show, Jez. We need to have you back on because there is a lot more to talk about.
Can't wait. Can't wait.
All
this
right.
was great.
If you've made it this far, thank you for tuning in. Please leave a comment if you want to get involved in the conversation and hit all of those buttons that help us grow. Now, sit back and let Jez take you away with his song Lulu. If you want more, check out his music in the links in the description.
Hey, baby, I can see you in the rain. Yeah, my darling, I can feel you in so much pain. Listen to me, baby, when it all falls apart. I'm the one who's got a hold of your heart. Listen to me, baby, when it all slips away. I'm the one who's here to stay. Hey, fury, I feel us fighting, so blind. Stand beside me and be my partner for this crime. You shake it down and you shake it up. Drink the wine, spill the cup. Our love is thicker than blood. I love you then and I love you now. Our love is a sacred vow. It's shining like the sun. Listen to me, baby, when it all falls apart. I'm the one who's got a hold of your heart. Listen to me, baby, when it all slips away. I'm the one who's here to stay. Listen to me, baby, when it all falls apart. I'm the one who's got a hold of your heart. Listen to me, baby, when it all slips away. I'm the one who's here to stay. I'm the one who's here to stay. I'm the one